Here it is, BenQ newest SW272U. There's a lot to talk about, and I have some time to spend with this display, so let's find out what I think about it. This is ArtIsRight. Before we start, subscribe if you're new and hit on the bell icon so you'll be notified every time I upload cool new videos like this. Full disclosure, I am BenQ Global Ambassador for their Pro display line, which includes the SW and PD series. I'll take a slight different approach in this review, however you are still going to get many great insight that you won't find elsewhere. This display is also a pre-production unit and there may be some changes in the final production version. And let me say what a privilege it is to have a pre-production display in the studio to test. Let's start with the panel specification. It is a 27-inch 4K UHD hardware calibrated display for photo and video. The U in the name signifies 4K ultra high definition with a resolution of 3840 by 2160 and a pixel density of 163 pixels per inch. There's also a 27-inch 2K 2560 by 1440 counterpart that is almost identical to this model with a few exceptions, but that's for another video. This display has a 60Hz refresh rate with a max brightness of 400 nits and a contrast ratio of 1000:1. The panel is an IPS LED backlight with an amazing 178 degrees angle of view from either side and coverage for 99% Adobe RGB, 99% DCI P3 and Display P3 along with 100% sRGB and Rec. 709. It has a 16-bit 3D lookup table for hardware calibration with 3 hardware calibration slots so you can calibrate each of them for different workflows. The panel is a 10-bit done via an 8-bit plus FRC with a guaranteed delta E of less than 1.5 compared to 2 of the previous generation. BenQ is really stepping up their game for color accuracy in these new generation SWs. For hardware calibration, BenQ has a new software called Palette Master Ultimate, more on this later. And the display is also compatible with CalMan and Lightspace if you choose to use another software to do a true hardware calibration. The display is CalMan verified, Pantone and Pantone skin tone validated, ensuring great color precision and accuracy. It also has a new feature for video pros such as support for 24, 25 and 30p videos in 444, 422 and 420 compression to avoid any type of jittering caused by the 3D tool pull down. And it also has support for HDR10 and HLG. It is also compatible with many AJAs and Blackmagic devices. This is BenQ Pro Display and it does come with their AccuColor technology. Think of this as a combination of hardware, software, and calibration working together in concert to give you the most accurate color possible. And this panel does carry that lineage from previous generation, such as color consistency technology that is a rigorous calibration process done at the factory to ensure that the colors is consistent right out of the box across multiple monitors. No more getting 2 of the same models that don't quite match. In addition, it has the latest generation uniformity technology, with calibrations that have been mapped from the factory over hundreds of sub-regions and adjusted to achieve evenness and color precision. The side benefit of this uniformity is significantly reduced backlight bleeding, which is the byproduct of IPS panel. These are some of the notable features that are imperceptible in addition to the hardware features that I have already gone over. Now let's talk connectivity. It has 2 HDMI 2.0, 1 full DisplayPort 1.4, and USB-C with 90 watts power delivery. Remember that the first time you set this up, you need to choose the signal source because the display lacks signal auto detect. The singular USB-C cable will carry display signal, I/O to the USB port, and data for hardware calibration, along with providing your portable device 90 watts of power. This 90-watt power delivery, though lower than some Apple power adapter, is still suitable for a 16-inch MacBook Pro. Case in point. Although under heavy load, it may just power the laptop and temporarily suspend charging. The reason why Apple include a large 140-watt charger is for fast charging and the ability to charge and run the laptop under heavy load simultaneously. There's also a USB Type-B uplink to be used in conjunction with DisplayPort and HDMI connection. In addition, there are two USB Type-A, an SD card reader, and a 3.5mm headphone jack on the display as well. There are no built-in speakers in the SW series, and do note there is a bandwidth limitation when using USB Type-C with 4K. So the USB-A on the display along with the SD card reader would only work at USB 2.0 equivalent speed. And some might ask, can I plug in a USB uplink cable between the display and computer when using USB Type-C? The answer is yes, but you won't get to utilize that speed and it won't increase the speed whatsoever. So if you are a pro, the best thing that you can do is to get a dedicated card reader and not rely on the one that's built into your display or laptop. And with those specs out of the way, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the SW272U. At the end of the day, this is still a 27-inch 4K display. My honest thought when BenQ first told me about this model is as follows. What can they really do to improve what they already have? This would just be another iterative product with little change. And boy, was I wrong. First impression is everything, and seeing the matted display for the first time when I pulled it out of the box was just really stunning. Genuinely speaking, after testing this, it is the most impressive 27-inch SW display that I've tested to date. Let's start with the external changes that we can see. First, it has a new industrial design that is sleeker and I would add more practical. It retains the dark gray of the previous SW, and this is by design, so that the focus is always on your creation. The base is now a flat, matted gray metal coated with a letterette inlay that has the word PhotoView engraved on the right front. I really like the letterette because it gives the display the warmth and organic feel that makes it more than just a computer peripheral. This can simply be used as a pad for your phone, your tablet, tools, camera, memory cards, so many different things. Perhaps in a future model, this pad could be a dark wood inlay, and that would make it really superb. Moving towards the back, we have a new vertical stand with telescoping cylindrical column and a cable organizer at the very bottom that sits flush with the base. This is nice to see, unlike the PD series. However, it being a standalone plastic piece, I would caution against breakage. And I would like to have a few more cable clips and organizer higher up in the vertical column to truly hide the wires. Now we get to the panel enclosure. I'm glad that they are still keeping the handle in this redesign. The ports and I/O are still at the back. However, with this redesign, they took mini cue from the PD series, and it now comes with a plastic cover to hide the connector and make the back of the display look more uniform. The cover is sturdy. Attachment is done by sliding the mini plastic clip into the slot towards the top and snap it in at the bottom. I wish they made this cover attachment via magnets instead, similar to the cable cover in the PD series ergo arm. This display comes standard with a shading hood for both horizontal and vertical orientation. As a side note, the 2K model only comes with the horizontal shading hood. In addition, it is also compatible with BenQ HB27 hood bridge. So if you use multiple SW 27-inch, which includes the 2K model and previous generation, and like to connect the hood together, the hood bridge is definitely a great option. I'll leave a link to the hood bridge review in the description. Moving to the front, it has infinity edge on 3 sides and a subdued color but prominent bottom bezel with BenQ logo embossed on the left and IR receiver on the right. Gone are the light up power and other control buttons. These controls have been moved down to the bottom right of the display, and it now has a 5-way joystick with button on either side that makes it much easier to navigate the display menu without the hotkey puck. On the bottom left, we have an SD card reader, 2 USB Type-A, and a 3.5mm headphone jack. One additional feedback about the SD card slot beside the speed is that the card would go in backwards, rather unintuitive. And now we get to the star of this SW272U, the panel. With its new anti-reflective coating, which BenQ referred to as fine coated panel, I would say this is 80 to 90% of what we have in the SW321C, and the texture is best described as smooth matte paper. I consider this to be the best feature of this panel, and it is a huge differentiator between this SW and the previous generation, and even more so from other brands. No one has these combination of paper-like matted screen, 99% Adobe RGB coverage, along with great hardware calibration features, in addition to the menu AccuColor technologies that I have mentioned earlier. In fact, BenQ got this fine-coated panel tested, and it has a TUV Rhineland anti-reflective certification. In addition, we get a new Hotkey Puck Gen 3 that is redesigned for better ergonomics, and it has wireless connectivity. The puck uses infrared with the emitter at the center top, and it is powered by two AAA batteries. Now let's talk about what's new internally. There's a brand new panel and a chip for hardware calibration that makes it 30 to 50% faster depending on the color gamut compared to previous SW models. The display menu has also been significantly overhauled. The best analogy for this menu is like moving from an iPhone pre-Retina to a Retina one. The GUI is modern with more relevant information. The Hotkey Puck also has an info button right in the front of it, and when you press this button, it will show the various display settings. This may not sound exciting, but if you have calibrated SW display before, there are up to 3 calibration slots, and if you forget the setting that you use, well, this new info button will tell you just that. No more digging through your notes or reverse engineering the ICC profile name to figure out the setting. And one last thing, when you switch to input source, it will also pop up with an information screen that shows the resolution, color gamut, luminance, and other information that are really useful in real time. As usual with all SW displays, you still have gamut dual, advanced black and white mode, along with M-Book color mode to match any uncalibrated Apple display. In addition, it has paper color sync, which I would say is a great introduction for many getting into the world of display and print matching. Remember when you do this to get a good and controllable light source for print viewing that is not just daylight. Lastly, the app that binds all these great features together is BenQ Palette Master Ultimate, which is a hardware calibration app that has been developed in-house from the ground up. They have spent over 12,000 hours, that's over 6 years, to create the software and perfect the algorithm. I have shared many videos on PMU already, and I'll have more in the coming weeks. There are many new features in PMU, however, there are two that I would love to highlight. First, this feature will apply to all compatible SW displays. Because the app runs in the background, when you switch the color mode on the Hotkey Puck, PMU will automatically switch the OS setting to the corresponding ICC profile. No more manual profile changes. Secondly, when using PMU with the new SW272U and Q, you'll also see a checkbox in the monitor settings screen called Uniformity. This will load the factory uniformity data right into the calibration for an even more consistent and accurate colors throughout the entire panel. As you can see, something has remained the same while other has improved drastically compared to what have come before. Like I said, this display has surprised and delighted me in many unexpected ways. This is a good testament to what BenQ is doing right, keeping the lineage where necessary and improving on usability. Yes, there are always going to be blue sky specifications that we want, but overall, this is one of the best improvements in the SW 27-inch 4K that I have tested to date. I'm looking forward to test what's going to come next from BenQ. As usual, leave any questions or comment below, give this a like, subscribe and hit on the bell renew, and in art we trust. As photographers, there's nothing like being there. For everything after, there's BenQ Photo View. Edit accurately.